Hey, this is Paul at Crystal Commerce, and today I'm going to be going over how to take a user's exported activity logs and reverse engineer them to try to restore quantities after a batch update. So in this case, I had done a batch update at the request of a client to zero out all the Yu-Gi-Oh singles. We set everything to 0, but now they're realizing they actually wanted those quantities back. So if you go to the account users page in the admin and then click on activities, you can search for date range and then export those activities to CSV. And that's what we have here. And so I'm going to try to basically find like what each card was, how much quantity was subtracted. And then that's going to be what we're adding back to inventory, because that'll be equal to the previous quantity. So we get 3 columns here: username, timestamp, and description. We don't need username or timestamp in this case, so we'll delete those. And now we just have a single description column, which has the category in parentheses at the beginning here, followed by the card name, the word modified, then the condition or any other variants, and like in case of magic, it'd probably have language in there, and then quantity minus whatever equals 0. So we're gonna have to try to separate all this information into separate columns to get it to work with mass create. So the first step is going to be selecting the column, go to data, text to columns. We want to choose delimited, and then we're going to choose other, and then put the back end of the parentheses, because that'll cut it off at the end of each category name. So we go next, finish, and then we can see we separate it into columns, separate columns here. And we can see it also put the quantity minus 1 into its own thing because the condition is also in parentheses. So the first thing we want to do is we want to check for instances where parentheses were not, there were other parentheses besides ones at the end of the category name and the end of the condition name. So first, I'm going to what is going on? Go ahead and put column headers here. Whoops. Okay. And then, it's weird, Excel is doing something kind of odd. I'm not sure why, but it looks like it's back to normal. Alright. And we're gonna go data sort, and we're gonna sort by column D. And it looks like it's empty now, but if there were any extra parentheses, we would have something in column D. So we're gonna try to basically bring everything in column D up to the top. And sure enough, we have some of those quantity minus things here in column D. So it looks like in this case, for these cards here, column B, where the name normally is totally empty, and that's because there was another parentheses at the end of this round too. So in this case, we can just add the parentheses to the end there. What? Okay. All right. And we'll drag that down, and then let's go ahead and move. We'll just shift all of these. Whoops. Shift all of these this way. All right, and then these ones, it looks like there was a parentheses somewhere in the middle of the card name. So for this, I'm going to use the concatenate function to combine the 2 columns. So we know that that's the beginning, and then there was a closed parentheses that got removed when doing the find replace, or text to columns rather, and then that column there, and we'll just drag that down to copy the formula, copy, paste, let's see, paste values. And then we're not going to need this anymore. And we're not going to need this anymore. And now we can just shift all these over. All right. So we no longer have a column D. And in this case here, we can just isolate the quantity by doing a find and replace. So we'll highlight the column. I copied the equals 0 in there, or the space equals 0. And we'll go replace all. And then we just do the quantity minus, like the colon, quantity minus space, everything before the number basically. And then we'll just replace that with blank as well. And now we have our add quantity column. And I'm gonna shift that over a few rows just in case, because we still need to isolate all the conditions. And so in this case, we don't want to do text to column by this parenthesis here, because like some of these cards have other parentheses. So I'm going to find everything that says modified with a parenthesis, and we're going to replace that with a character that we're not going to find anywhere on this spreadsheet. And for that, I usually use the tilde. So we're just going to go replace all. And now we can just select this, go data, text to columns, delimited, and other, and we'll put in tilde. There we go. And boom, now we have our conditions. So let's go ahead and move this next to condition. And let's see. A few more things here. First, we're gonna move everything over 1. So we have an empty row here. And we need to remove this opening parentheses from these. So that will just go back to data, text to columns. In this case, we're gonna choose fixed width. And we're just going to have one divider here right after that opening parentheses at the very beginning. Just like that. Finish. And then we don't need this column anymore. All right, so this is our category column. This is product name, but the product names have a bunch of like spaces on the beginning and the end. So we're just gonna go equals trim, select that, and that'll remove the space, all the spaces. We'll then copy that, paste values, and now we don't have the spaces anymore. We can delete that column, and there we go. This should do it. We've got all the quantities in one column here, we have all the conditions here, we have the product names here, and we have the categories over here. So now I can save this file, and it's ready to upload and restore all the quantities back to their inventory. So pretty fast way to you know, reverse engineer a batch update where we updated over 30,000 quantities. But yeah, hopefully that's useful. That's it for me.